Brought to you by Penguin.
Adults in the Room by Yanis Varoufakis. Read by Leighton Pugh. Part 1. Winters of Our Discontent. Chapter 1. Introduction. The only colour piercing the dimness of the hotel bar was the amber liquid flickering in the glass before him. As I approached, he raised his eyes to greet me with a nod, before staring back down into his tumbler of whiskey. I sank onto the plush sofa, exhausted. On cue, his familiar voice sounded imposingly morose. "Yanis," he said, "you made a big mistake." In the deep of a spring night, a gentleness descends on Washington, D.C. that is unimaginable during the day. As the politicos, the lobbyists, and the hangers-on melt away, the air empties of tension and the bars are abandoned to the few with no reason to be up at dawn, and to the even fewer whose burdens trump sleep. That night, as on the previous 81 nights, or indeed the 81 nights that were to follow, I was one of the latter. It had taken me 15 minutes to walk, shrouded in darkness, from 719th Street Northwest, the International Monetary Fund's building, to the hotel bar where I was to meet him. I had never imagined that a short, solitary stroll in nondescript D.C. could be so restorative. The prospect of meeting the great man added to my sense of relief. After 15 hours across the table from powerful people too banal or too frightened to speak their minds, I was about to meet a figure of great influence in Washington and beyond, a man no one can accuse of either banality or timidity. All that changed with his acerbic opening statement, made more chilling by the dim light and shifting shadows. Faking steeliness, I replied, "And what mistake was that, Larry?" "You won the election," came his answer. It was the 16th of April 2015. The very middle of my brief tenure as finance minister of Greece. Less than 6 months earlier, I had been living the life of an academic, teaching at the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas at Austin, while on leave from the University of Athens. But in January, my life had changed utterly when I was elected a member of the Greek Parliament. I had made only one campaign promise, that I would do everything I could to rescue my country from the debt bondage and crushing austerity being imposed on it by its European neighbours and the IMF. It was that promise that had brought me to this city and, with the assistance of my close team member Elena Paraniti, who had brokered the meeting and accompanied me that night, to this bar. Smiling at his dry humour and to hide my trepidation, my immediate thought was, is this how he intends to stiffen my resolve against an empire of foes? I took solace from the recollection that the 71st Secretary of the United States Treasury and 27th President of Harvard is not known for his soothing style. Determined to delay the serious business ahead of us a few moments more, I signalled to the bartender for a whiskey of my own and said, "Before you tell me about my mistake, let me say, Larry, how important your messages of support and advice have been in the past weeks. I'm truly grateful, especially as for years I've been referring to you as the Prince of Darkness." Unperturbed, Larry Summers replied, "At least you called me a prince. I've been called worse." For the next couple of hours, the conversation turned serious. We talked about technical issues, debt swaps, fiscal policy, market reforms, bad banks. On the political front, he warned me that I was losing the propaganda war, and that the Europeans, as he called Europe's powers that be, were out to get me. He suggested, and I agreed, that any new deal for my long-suffering country should be one that Germany's Chancellor could present to her voters as her idea, her personal legacy. Things were proceeding better than I'd hoped, with broad agreement on everything that mattered. It was no mean feat to secure the support of the formidable Larry Summers in the struggle against the powerful institutions, governments and media conglomerates demanding my government's surrender and my head on a silver platter. Finally, after agreeing our next steps and before the combined effects of fatigue and alcohol forced us to call it a night, Summers looked at me.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?